Hey everybody, Rockstar Vamp here. Um, well, this video is actually a response to shaycarl. He was talking about nature versus nurture, and you can always change your stars and so forth. Um, I actually believe uh, both things are involved. Like, with nature, you are naturally born with your personality that you're naturally meant to be the way you are. You were born the way you are. You know, like if you're a huge troublemaker, you were born to be that. If you were like you're a big genius and you're doing lots of awesome things, you were born to be that way. Um, and then nurture is basically that you were created the way you were. Meaning, like you were raised to be the way you are. Like you're a drug addict because your parents were drug addicts, or you're a really smart, successful person because your parents were smart and successful people. Stuff like that. Like your family raised you to be the way you are. Personally, I think it's both. I know. I personally think it has to do with both. It's like genetically, genetically, I'm kind of big. Everyone in my family is big. I can't really help it. I mean, I could probably lose some weight, but still, even if I do lose weight, I would still be considered a plus size because naturally everyone in my family is plus size. I mean, my mom, she works out. She goes and she does and she has a great diet and everything, but she's still a plus size. It's not because she's fat, it's because her bone structure and everything is just larger. And I believe I would be the same way. If I'd actually, put forth the effort to lose weight, I would still be considered plus size because my bone structure and everything is larger. I mean, for goodness sakes, I'm almost 6 foot. I am almost 6 foot tall. And I've got some pretty wide hips. I could show you, but I don't feel like it right now. And I've got some pretty wide hips, broad shoulders, so forth, so on. And basically everyone in my family is like that. But, when it comes to the physical attributes, I'll learn to speak eventually. And then when it also comes with, like, your personality and how successful you are, I believe some of it is nature and some of it is nurture. Like, you naturally have a whole lot of charisma, which makes you somewhat successful because you explode with charisma. And everyone loves you because you're a charismatic person. But also, like, nurture would come into play by the fact that, let's say your parents are excessively abusive to you. Like, someone in your family, you grow up with a parent that's excessively abusive towards you, and he's abusive towards your mother, like your father is abusive towards your mother, and so forth. And, let's say all this, and because you can't seem to make your father proud, and all this other stuff, and you end up getting with the wrong crowd out of self-pity and so forth and so forth and so on, and you end up with the wrong crowd and getting in jail, etc., etc. Nurture has a bit to do with it, but nature, in the fact that you're naturally not smart enough. You're naturally not, I don't know, your common sense is lacking. I guess naturally your common sense just lacks. I could be wrong, I could be right, but this is just personal opinion. But also with nature versus nurture, in my family, my dad is not exactly a nice guy. I mean, he could be worse, but then again, he still sucks, in my opinion. And growing up, my brother had it fairly tough because my dad was always meaner to him than he was to me. And, in fact, I think I was considered a favorite of his, which I think is a little bit annoying because I don't like being the favorite of him because he's smelly and so forth. But anyway, what I think nurture has to do with that is the fact that I'm the first. Well, nurture has to do with that because my father really wasn't a nice guy. He kept trying to push me into situations that I wasn't too excited about. Like, he kind of wanted me to hook up with one of my cousins, and I think it was gross. Yeah, that's not right. And, also, my on that side of the family, most of the women ended up, pregnant and dropping out of high school. Barely any of them ever went to college. And, you know, as for changing my own stars and everything, I really believe you can. I mean, I've already basically changed my stars. On my mother's side of the family, the past few generations have had a bad habit of picking the wrong men. Like, the past few generations of women in my family have had, on my mom's side of the family, have had, like, choosing the wrong men. Like, my mom chose my dad, which I think she could have done better, but then again, I wouldn't be here, so I guess it works out. And then my grandmother chose, my grandfather, and he wasn't really a nice guy either. He still isn't. And then, so forth, so on. But, I think I've already changed things. Like, for now, I have an incredibly amazing boyfriend I've been with for the past 3 years. Almost 4. We're taking our time, everything is wonderful, and he's severely nice. He's basically the complete opposite of my father, which is actually what attracted me to him, is because he's clean, my father wasn't. He's excessively kind and generous. My father wasn't. He's excessively, really, he's pretty. My father wasn't. He was really gross. But, he's a really, really good guy. And that's basically the complete opposite of anything my father was. Like, he's not lazy, he's clean, he's so forth and so on. My dad was actually too lazy to even bathe half the time, so that's awful. But I believe I've changed some stars already by, choosing to go out with him. And then, nurture, I think, probably had something to do with it because I was inspired by the fact my father was not a great guy. He was really lazy, he was clean, he was dirty, and, just not cool whatsoever. But I think nurture had something to do with that because I was somewhat inspired by the fact of how, not great he was. But, there's that. Hope you enjoyed it. By the way, shaycarl, I love your videos. Your family is incredibly adorable. I think you should call, like, fetus tard the new little tard. Call him, like, the new little tard or something like that. But, also, I really like the name Zach, so you should think about that one. Zachary is a really good name. And, yeah. So, there you go. Have fun, guys. Bye.